Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Steve Owen. The snare drum is central to a drummer's education. The techniques I'm going to talk to you about apply to all of the other instruments in the percussion family. I'll be taking you through my philosophy of snare drumming step by step, covering grip, stroke, posture, rebound, ornaments, and an overall concept of sound. Most importantly, I'm going to show you how to be relaxed when you play. Relaxation is the key to feeling and sounding good during a performance. A wiser man than I once said that good drumming is a combination of total control and total relaxation. That should be our goal, no matter which instrument we're playing. The proper snare drum grip is crucial to the success of any percussionist. While everyone's arms, hands, and fingers are different, the essentials of grip are pretty much universal. It's really important to insist on good basics when you're first starting out, because that's when bad habits can form. And we all know how hard it can be to drop a bad habit once we've picked it up. The fulcrum, or point of balance, is the basis of snare drum technique. The fulcrum is the place where the contact between the hand and the stick is the most focused. A precise point of balance is needed to allow for the maximum mobility of the stick. If you grip the stick like a club, you won't be able to execute even the most basic snare drum techniques. The best placement of the fulcrum is between the pad of the thumb and the first knuckle of the index finger. The thumb joint should be depressed toward the stick rather than locked outward so as to avoid any unnecessary tension. The remaining fingers wrap gently around the stick for support. The back finger shouldn't squeeze the stick, but should remain in contact. The length of the stick will determine exactly where to place the fulcrum, but a good rule of thumb is to allow about 3/4 of an inch to remain visible behind the hand. Experiment a little, but remember that choking up too much will put all of the weight at the back of the stick, keeping the stick from rebounding, and choking up too little will put all of the weight at the bead, resulting in a dead stroke. I rotate my palms downward to face the floor. That allows my wrists the maximum amount of flexibility. The sticks should form a V position on the drum head. The angle of the V is between 45 and 90 degrees. The key is that it will feel natural. The general beating spot on a concert snare drum is about an inch off center. The center of the head is a dead spot, and about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. The area of the head between the general beating spot and the far edge can be used for dynamic shading. The drum should be at a height that allows your upper arms to hang loosely and naturally by your sides. A drum that's too low will force you to assume a kind of slump-shouldered posture, and a drum that's too high will force you to chicken wing out your arms to avoid hitting the rim. Either way, you're bound to experience discomfort while you play. A good rule of thumb is that the forearms should be slightly less than parallel to the floor while you're playing. To compensate for that, it's possible to set up the drum so that it's angled slightly away from you. That will ensure that the bead of the stick is making good, flush contact with the playing surface. Also, remember to set up the drum so that the snares run perpendicular to your body. That way, the optimal playing surface is always directly over the snares. It's always a good idea to use a full-length mirror to observe your playing position. If anything looks or feels unnatural, double-check the fundamentals of grip and posture to make sure everything is okay. I know I sound like a broken record, but bad posture can lead to fatigue or injury, so don't let it creep into your playing. When I play single notes, the stroke comes exclusively from the wrist. Try this. With the forearms completely stationary, just lift the tip of the stick and drop it, allowing it to rebound naturally to the starting point. The motion should be smooth and unforced. If it helps, think about bouncing a ball. The bead of the stick strikes the head and then bounces back up. Remember to keep the wrist relaxed. The distance that the bead of the stick is lifted away from the head is called the height of rise. The height of rise is important for the volume of the stroke, the speed of the passage, ornaments, phrasing, and so on. In other words, it's all about the height of rise. Learning to control the height of rise and get it nice and equal in both hands is a matter that requires daily practice, even for advanced players. Check out these exercises for developing the wrist stroke. Remember to start slowly and be methodical. Try to create a flowing legato style. That will give you the warmest, most appealing sound. Strive for an accurate beating spot. Always practice with a metronome to ensure good time and acuity of rhythm. Whenever you can, use a mirror to make sure that your arms aren't moving around and that your height of rise is perfectly even in both hands. If you have the means, record your practice sessions so you can listen for imperfections. Being strict with your fundamentals is always helpful, but it's especially important when you're first starting out.